Hello everyone, welcome back to the Lord of the Rings Online. This is Gnarlo here. Say hello to everyone. Gnarlo, good boy. When last we left off, we had just finished Book 6, Chapter 6 in the epic quest by bringing back a heart of stone, a stone heart from the Watching Stones. We had brought it to Forthnir, and then he had sent us out to test it against a fail spirit in one of the remaining Watching Stones to see if it could draw the spirit forth, and it could. So he told us that we therefore had the courage and the spirit of mind in order to pass the stones safely without being killed by them. So that is our next quest. Excuse me, swig of coffee here. Book 6, Chapter 7, Beyond the Rammas Deluon. So where we are going to head, pull up the map. We are over here in Angmar. We are going to head back out across Fasaglaran, go over here to the Melinhad, pass down the side, pass where the outpost of the people from Angmar are, and continue on until we pass the Fence of Stones. There's the Fence of Watching Stones there, the Rammas Deluon. We're going to pass through those if we can, and they said that there is a dwarven settlement, a dwarven outpost somewhere beyond it. I'm willing to bet it's down here where you see the campsite and the stable master. Gabil Shatur. That's an awful dwarven name there. So that is where we are now going to head. We will go ahead and mount up and head out that way. And once we get closer to the outpost there, we will be rejoining you. That's the first outpost, the outpost of the Angmar people here, not the outpost of the dwarves. So we shall head on out that way, and we'll rejoin you whenever we get over there to close to the Rammas Deluon. We have reached the western Melinhad once more, and we are approaching the outpost here. Just a couple more lurkers to get around. Right on the edges of the great ashen, acidic swamp of the Melinhad. We'll soon be passing the gates, and we are in Tirnluig. We are only going to stay here for a moment as we pass out the other side. Let's check our map. We are now way down here. We are going to continue to the right, heading eastward, and see if we can't reach the Rammas Deluon once more and pass beyond it. Now that we seem to have, there's that odd square shadow again. Now that we seem to have achieved a certain purpose of spirit and a might of will, and there's platinum there, mind me. Well, let's go ahead and collect that one, and then we will head on again. Can't pass up the platinum. I can go with the others, but the platinum just beckons. Alright, we've got one more little plateau here, I think, with all those fireworms on it. We can get past those. Yeah, the searing flame worms. Should not be too big of a deal to pass them by. But they have quite the little nest over here. I believe there are quite a few quests that take you into this area as well. Fighting the worms, destroying their nest, cracking their eggs, that sort of thing. Just judging by the size of them, I bet they make a nice omelet. Alright. Today is a double experience weekend, by the way, as well. So you'll notice my just finishing up what I did. The bar will be traveling on. Okay, here we go. Let's see what happens as we pass the Ramas. We don't want to stay in their vicinity too long, because as you see, they do still give you dread. But they're not an insta-kill like they were before. So there you go. There's the body of some poor unfortunate there. In fact, there's several, as you see there. Look at that there. You'll see there's skeletons all about. Many, many skeletons of things that have tried to pass the Ramas here. Poor unfortunates. Okay. We will continue this way. Moving on along until we try and see if we can't find that dwarven outpost. It should be along the southern wall here. As the monster's getting tougher again, turning white and yellow where they were light blue and blue before. So we have achieved a more difficult zone. See if we can get past a couple of these acid pits. Don't know if the leeches attack you on sight or not. I know that the corrupted Norbergergs only attack you if you stay too close to them. They will aggro and then give you a warning shriek. Up ahead, you are seeing the rally point for this particular area. Should you get killed by one of the leeches or the flame worms or the turtles you see out there in this area, this is where you would rally back to. Okay. And under a nice ugly green sky. What time is it, by the way, anyway? It is the gloaming, so it will be dawn. Gloaming. Ah, that's just as evening has fallen, isn't it? Think you have dusk and then gloaming? I think that's the way it goes. As you'll see, right about here, there is a passage that goes up into the hills, further south, winds its way up a narrow bit here. I see some trees at the end of it, and we are entering Gabil-Shator. You should recognize, if you don't recognize the dwarves standing there, you should recognize the architecture. Definitely a dwarven place. Alright, search for survivors. Now maybe, it might be that guy up there with a ring over his head, perhaps. There's another guy with a ring. Let's see if maybe we can find perhaps a ranger type person. First we're going to grab the stable master here. So let's go ahead and dismount.
Well met.
There, Gath Forthnir, swift travel. It's always worth. I don't really consider myself as having found a place until I've actually grabbed its stable master. Right up there. Another dude. Said, let's go on in and see if we can find somebody that may actually have something to do with the missing, like these two guys in ranger outfits over there. Look at here, Bregir and Banifur. I'll bet they may know something. Let's talk to this guy with the flaming ring first. And I don't think it's because he needs some witch hazel.
Grey's the shadow upon my heart.
Who are you? If you are not a servant to the shadow of Angmar, how then did you pass through Rammas Deluon and not perish? Forthnir sent you. That is joyous news. Your coming is as a trump of victory to us.
Might you spare a moment of your time?
Fantastic. As you see, we bumped up about twice as much as we should have down there. Like I said, 100% weekend again. Book 7, Chapter 1, Hidden in Shadow. It is a pity that Forthnir could not steel his heart against the watchers of Rammas Deluon. The power of the Watching Stones is terrible. Many of the hillmen tried to flee back through Rammas Deluon and perished. We marched on, but ere we ever came unto Karndum, we were beset by orcs and creatures more terrible. Guladir was lost, and our numbers were scattered. The scarce remnant that remains has barely managed to avoid the snares of the enemy for these last few years. But I fear Angmar has grown too strong, and we will not be able to hide forever. I have learned that one party of my kindred is encamped at a place called Gath Forthnir, far to the north in the eastern reaches of Hinbar. Go to them if you would, and lend them what aid you may. So let's find the rangers of Gath Forthnir. that shouldn't be too terrible. Book 7, Chapter 1, Hidden in Shadow. Alright, Gath Forthnir in the ranges of Himbar. Is this it right there? Yes, Gath Forthnir. So we've got to travel indeed far to the north and see what we can find. It shouldn't be too bad of a travel. I say that from foresight, because I have traveled this path before, of course. I've been up here many and many times with my dwarf, just never with any of the other characters, and certainly not with Gnarlo here. So let us go. We came up that path, so this time we will come down this path, go out the other side. And then see if we can't travel to the north. Now, if you're actually coming this way, or you're actually going to go up that way, and if you're of sufficient enough level, the easiest way to get to it, rather than work your way through the Melinhad, is to travel up that road. If you remember this path here that led up, this over here is where we were fooling with the lesser watching statue and all. It leads through another fortress, a lot of orcs and Iron Crown people and that sort of thing. It's laid out a lot like the one over here. If you remember the one we went through over here when we were looking for that statue with the fell spirit. It's laid out a lot like that, but you can pass through it if you're of, like I said, sufficient level, and it just follows the road on up this way. Instead, since we can't quite do that, we are going to go up this way and see if we can't dodge our way through the various critters and all here in the eastern Melinhad. What do they call it? The Duvuinen. Until we can reach the road from its southern curve here. Let us go ahead. Can I turn my torch on? Yes, there we go. I'm not sure what that does. It does something with fraps. It may take a screenshot or something, because that number always flashes whenever I have to do an Alt F10 to turn my light on. Okay, once again we are going to continue and actually show the path, show the route, since we have not been this way before. You'll see all these stacks of lumber and various sawn logs and everything, because right past over there, there is a giant orc camp. Right over there past that hill, as you'll be able to tell as we are passing by the entrance here. Those are the Blogmaul orcs. As you see when I cover over them, they would have any of the guides you need for your class manuals. You can get off of them. Now this fella, I'm not sure. I'm not sure what exactly he does. I think there may be a quest involving him where you have to find him and fight him. I'm not interested in fighting him at the moment, so let's see. He won't chase us too far before he goes back to his campsite. There you go. He's a bit of a lazy bugger. And fortunately, Rushuk was tougher than he was. Let us go ahead and dismount and resummon to make sure we've got full hit points again. There we are. I'd hate to be needing to get away from one of these beasties in a hurry and have just a hit take down my pony. It would not be fun. More wild areas to the side there. Those lead to, I think, more orcs. I think there's a troll lair, a troll fortress further on back there. And lots of the Norbergs and wolves out in that area. Alright, so it looks like the leeches do just threaten you. They do not attack on sight, as long as you get away from them quickly enough. And we should be approaching the turn in the road here very shortly. More Blogmaul. Yes, there we are. We are coming up to it very quickly. aim for the tree. Oop. Getting a little bit of stutters. We've got new territory loading in here. Okay, let's let it get out of... There. Let it get out of screenshot mode. Okay. Like I said, this is the road that I was showing you. We are right here where the easternmost part, where it turns back to the north. If we were to follow it that way, you'd pass through several orc camps. These are the Kranjarn, who are all in this area. So Kranjarn to the west of us, Blogmaw to the south. We've got a little bridge to cross. Imled Balkthorn. Balkhorth. I don't know why I hung up there. It's an area, it's kind of like Angmar's. You see all these dead down there. It's kind of like Angmar's answer to the Barrow Downs. It is an evil, evil place full of undead, full of barrows. As you see here, if we travel that way, we travel right on down, skirting the edge of the deadly barrows and graves and everything there. The road to the right travels on into a corrupted, twisting, maze-like valley. You see suddenly we've got orange wargs and that sort of creature all down in there, and there's a great fortress of Angmar is down on that side as well that guards the path. The fortress of Barad Gularan is the one that guards the path that goes to the rift of Nirzgashu. We don't want to go that way right now. We don't want to go that way for a very long time. So what we are going to do is we are actually going to see if we can manage to make our way down here through all the undead horrors. See what the gate itself looks like. Quite an evil and impressive looking edifice there. And apparently F12 not only gets rid of our user interface, but it takes screenshots in Steam. Good to know. Alright, there's a decaying hand. That will attack us. You'll remember decaying hands from the barrows. Ironbound slave. That's a form of the bloated whites that we're used to. Alright, we've already drawn aggro, so let us just continue. See if we can get through this area pretty quickly. Lost the aggro of the hands and everything. I'm gonna see if we can't. I think the path to where we are going is just ahead. See, we are down, just reaching the edge of the valley here. Let's see if we can't sneak our way down through part of this. Off to the left is where the bulk of it lies. You can see the various rocks sticking out of the ground looking like teeth. There's a bunch of barrows. There's a stairway to a higher level mortuary and mausoleum area. I think I'll pass by the ancient iron there for a moment. Right there, I think, is where we're running. I think that is the path that leads further north, further up into the hills, to see if we can't. Nope, guessed it wrong. Oh, Barghest over here as well, so you know it's a barrow type area. That's the place I want to go. There's the path. Hopefully we'll be able to reach it from this side. Okay, there's one there too. I did get it right. I just hadn't gone far enough to see the edge of it there. Okay. Further up. Get a nice view of where we have been. We are climbing this hill, heading for the campfire. That below us, that road off to the right, is where it continues on up to the north, enters some more evil Angmar and Iron Crown settlements up here. But right up here, we can get past this last weight. It's not the settlement that we're looking for, but it's a little outpost of theirs. Right here. Mirkworth. Nice campsite. Here is the rally circle. And an unusually large rally circle as well. Perhaps they expect a large amount of defeat in this area. So there you go. Now, what we are going to do, we are going to continue to the north. I believe there is a path that leads down from up there. I'm hoping so. There's a provisioner there in case you need to sell stuff. I'm hoping that there's a pathway that leads down from this side without too much difficulty. We are entering into the world here just like we saw with that orc creature. What are they? The Skara Hunters. There you go. Getting into the range of the orange level creatures now. But being a burglar, we should be able to avoid most of them. Okay. So, this is not quite what we're needing. Let's try and do a safe fall, and then let's try and jump over the side. Hopefully, we've not injured ourselves. Fantastic. I do like that safe fall. You saw it pop up there for a second. You've injured yourself, but then it occurred while this was still active. So we managed to get away from it. Very good. Alright. So there you go. Do not go out to the north unless you just want a vantage point, because there is no way down from up there other than jumping. So we are going to skirt along. We are right. This is still the hill there. You see that glossy basalt type rock. This is still the hill that has the campfire in front of it. We're just skirting right along the western edge of it here in these paths. I said, if you look over the edge, you see the paths. They're just this twisted maze down there. And there you see the highest tower of, what was the name? Barad Gularan. Gularan. That's the highest tower. We don't want to go that way right yet. Let us continue to see if we can get on to the north and up to Gath, Forthnir. Okay. Looks like we should be able to get there if we just continue following this path. Try and give the pack lords and all a wide berth. One, because they're kind of tough. It would be a heck of a fight. Two, because they're high enough level that I don't know if our sneak would be quite sufficient. Oh, great. And now we're hitting some red things. Blade beak burrowers. Alright, I think we finally have a mission here. Told you that the travel missions, these go to this northern point and talk to this person. These tend to be overcon. They tend to give you a little bit too much experience for what they are because they're just traveling, but as you see there, that was a dangerous way to come. Maybe they anticipate that you'll come through and continue over there wandering through all the creatures in the barrows rather than wander over here with the high, deep oranges and the red level critters. That must be what their mentality was. Okay. Now we have reached the shores of this terrible lake. Looks horrible. I'm sure it's quite toxic, but at least for game terms, it will not hurt you. Oops. Did not mean to cut the recording off. Meant to just cut sneak off. There we go. We are going to aim for this corner. Once again, we're going to get into it. Aim for that tree right there. Because just on the other side of this bend, around these outposts of the basalt rocks, we will find yet another path going up. You'll see where we are right here, crossing this little lake that does not show up there. In just a moment, as soon as we make landfall, we will mount up once again. There we go. And on up the hill. Again, here we are, aiming for this outpost. Let's see where we've come from. There's that evil foul lake. Pond, whatever you want to call it. After seeing Lake Evendim, that does definitely qualify as just a pond. Got yet another task board, and with the
Greetings.
grabbing of the stable master, we can say that we have truly found Lobocaron? It's supposed to be Gath Forthnir. How come it didn't show up on my list? Gath Forthnir. Wonder why it's not up there. If you turn left, continue to the north. Completed Bastions of Hope. We've got the trait tolerance. And here is yet another ranger. Araneth. Are we told to find Araneth? Nope, he's just told us to come up here and find the survivors. Let us look at this deed that we have passed first. The Bastions of Hope. We found Lemakota. Remember, Lemakota is a small earthkin village tucked within the depths of the Ramduath. The forces of Angmar have ignored it for the time being as their armies travel the eastern road through these broken valleys. Should it be discovered that this tribe of Earthkin have offered aid and sympathy to the men of the West, the hammer of Angmar would surely fall upon this place. Remember, that was that band of Earthkin that we passed right after we left the North Downs. Then, of course, we've got Oghair. The hillmen of Oghair are playing a dangerous game within the powers of Angmar. As one of the larger, more independent tribes of hillmen in the region, they have considerable sway with their brethren in the service of Angmar. As long as they continue to convince the lords of Angmar that they may yet join them, the men of Oghair are allowed a small breath of freedom. Nevertheless, their game can only play out so long before Angmar grows impatient and either enslaves or crushes this town as a spot of rebellion upon their flanks. Let us hope Forthnir has found his bravery before that happens. Tirnlug, you remember it? That was that little outpost that we passed before we crossed the Ramas. This small camp is inhabited by a band of hunters out of Oghair, and as such harbor some sympathies for the free peoples of Eriador. Luckily for them, the camp is far too small to have come to the notice of the powers of Angmar, yet. The other is Gabila Shatar. The dwarf mining outpost of Gabila Shatur was unwisely founded shortly before the recent revival of the powers of Angmar. Now these poor souls are trapped, holding out against hope that they can survive and be rescued before the fist of Angmar falls upon them. And then finally find Gath Forthnir. A small band of brave souls, including a small contingent of rangers, has created a well-hidden outpost here on the very doorsteps of Karndum. From here, they send spies to watch the movements of the enemy's armies and offer aid and rest to those who brave and strong enough to lead the fight against the false king. All right, let us dismount here, and we will talk to Araneth and see what he may tell us about what lies beyond this door. Book 7, Chapter 1, Hidden in
How can
Shadow.
I be of service?
You have come from Forthnir by way of Bregeir. Welcome then, and well met. Indeed, we could use your aid. These last few years have seen us nearly vanquished. But it's not for me to tell you of our woes. You should enter within and speak with Lornielle, Guladir's daughter. All right. So let us go within and speak to Lornielle, whoever Guladir. Guladir was the guy, he was the ranger who led this quest, wasn't he? Who ill-advisedly decided to ignore Aragorn's words and take the fight north to Angmar, becoming trapped here on the other side of the Rammas Deluon. Let us let this area load in. Okay, so we have found a cave system here on the other side. I do not remember enough of my Tengwar to tell you what that is, but just the fact that it is written in Elvish letters of the Tengwar is enough for me to feel a lot better about the situation. Alright, let us find Lornielle. We've got another milestone in here. We have a trader over here, a provisioner. That's not Lornielle, is it? Nope, that's Fimreg. We got a bard right there if we still needed one, although it seems like most of the skills and traits and everything are able to be handled from that separate menu now. There we go, Lornielle's quarters. I had thought no one would ever be able to cross the Rammas Deluon, and yet here you are. Let us go into Lornielle's quarters, speak with her, let her know that the Ramas has been pierced, and see what she has to say.
How can I be of service?
I do not believe good fortune alone brings you hither, my good hobbit. Come, we have much to speak about.
Might I take a moment of your time?
Book 7, Chapter 2, Crossing the Shadow. If you came from Bregier, I have no doubt you heard that my father was lost. He was indeed lost to us, but I do not believe he is slain. I have heard reports from our allies that he was taken captive and is being held within the dungeons of Carndum. One such ally, a sympathetic hillman from the hostile eastern tribes named Ragnall, claims he has acquired a scroll from the libraries of Carndum that tells how to gain access to the city. If you would meet Ragnall and obtain the scroll from him, it would be a tremendous step toward freeing my father from the clutches of the enemy. Be wary, though. He will be waiting just south of Catharnak, a hillman village which lies to the southwest of Gath Forthnir. Most of the hillmen there are in the service of the Iron Crown. So, we will accept Book 7, Chapter 2. We will need to go, which we are not going to be able to show on the map. Yes, we will. There we go. We'll need to go to Bale, whatever it was, which is, I think, this little village right there. And he'll be somewhere to the south of it, and we will need to get a scroll from him that he supposedly took out of the libraries of Carndum itself, which we will show you is right here. There's the great fortress of Carndum, the seat of the Witch King's power whenever he was the ruler of Angmar. So, that is where we are going to stop. We have had quite a long travel log this time around. Next time we join you, we will travel over to that town and see if we can't find this Ragnall fellow and get the secret of sneaking into Carndum from him. So hope you've enjoyed it, and we will see you next time. Bye bye.